All right, people. I think I'm just gonna go with this tiny screen because I don't think we get a computer, and I just want to get started. So, as you see, there's some new people. So I'm gonna speak mostly about the Marvel universe. Yeah, but I'm going to speak about this from cinema to comics, which is, as I said before, an explanation of the Marvel movies and how they incorporate into comics and what comics I recommend you read to understand what's happening now and what will happen in the future, and just basic comics I think is valuable to read. At any time through this talk, feel free to ask questions. If I say something that is confusing or something that makes no sense at all, just ask. And as I said, I'll be more than happy to answer questions about Spider-Man and X-Men as well, even though they're not a part of the universe I'm going to speak about mostly. I don't know, can you guys see this well?
Why don't you take a chair, put it on the table?
Yeah, I could do that.
You don't put the chair.
I could do that. It's a good idea.
Improvising.
Yeah, life hacks. Like this. And then it locked off. Nice. There we go. All right. Now we have this. I have some, just a few pointers of what I will talk about. I just briefly explained this. So basically, I'm not going to use the slide for much. There's a few pictures I want to show. So we don't actually need this. It was supposed to be for me to understand what I was speaking about, but I will just use it whenever I get to the pictures. So let's start about the newest movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. Have everyone watched Guardians of the Galaxy? Does anyone care about spoilers? Because this is gonna be pretty spoiler heavy, as it's most of it is theory, but it's pretty solid theories. All right, so the Guardians of the Galaxy is about these anti-heroes who are basically losers, but they end up saving the universe. Just another story. Everyone knows that kind of story. But the main thing in Guardians of the Galaxy is not the main characters, it's more like the side characters. We meet a few side characters, the evil guys. We meet a guy called Thanos, and we meet a guy called Ronan. And we also meet a guy called the Collector. And those three guys are actually really important for the upcoming movies. So I'd like to briefly explain what these people are. So Ronan, he's a guy. He's from oh, nice. Got a converter. Okay, there we go. Now we can get started in a good way. Okay, so I just explained what we're gonna go through, and I'll speak about Guardians of the Galaxy and the next slide, which is the multiverses, because Marvel is fucking huge and it has a really complex multiverse, which is stupid and makes no sense if you have no idea what's going on. So every character, you may have seen that there's right now they're making a new Captain America where he's black, and they're making a new Thor where Thor is a girl, and there's a series where Loki is a girl, where everyone is a girl, where they are zombies and crazy stuff like that. They are, of course, in different universes and not in the same. But the ones that are in the movies is called Earth 616, which is basically the Earth we live on. So they go through the same crises, they have the same presidents, the same people die, the same people live. So it's basically our Earth in a comic universe. So it's a good idea it's a good thing to know this, because else you'll be totally confused, because I know I was until I found out. And that took me quite a long time. Next slide. So what's the deal with Guardians of the Galaxy? I have a few points I want to go through. So the main story, it's about these, as I said, anti-heroes who basically they are not even connected in any way. They meet in a prison, more or less, and they just bond through that. And they have to sell this. They find an orb, and they want to sell that because they want to betray a guy, or some of them want to betray a guy who's Thanos, a guy I'm going to talk about a bit later. And he's a massive evil dude. He's probably one of the strongest evil guys in the Marvel universe. But I'll go to that in a little bit. So in Guardians of the Galaxy, they go through travel across the universe to sell this orb, and then they travel all the way back to save the planet. They save the planet. Story over. I don't want to go completely into detail about the main story because it's actually a pretty good movie, and I don't want to ruin it for those who haven't watched it. So I'm just gonna cover the brief points. So we have the Infinity Gems. I've seen the movie. I read the comics. I know what the Infinity Gems is. I know a lot of people are like Infinity Gems. What the fuck is this? What do they do? Yeah, question.
Ja, hvad du gør. Jeg synes, at
Gør det.
jeg er ikke så god til at snakke
Det er
engelsk.
også.
Men altså, jeg er sådan lidt i tvivl om, hvornår Guardians of the Galaxy, altså, hvornår kom de egentlig frem, altså, fordi man har aldrig hørt noget om frem før nu, altså sådan, hvad er det?
Altså, tegneserierne har været ude i næsten så lang tid som Avengers-tegneserierne. Det var omkring, jeg mener det var 80'erne, så valgte Marvel, at de ville have nogle nye grupper af superhelte. Så lavede de noget, der hed The Defenders, som ikke blev særlig populært. Og så kom Guardians of the Galaxy, som bare, altså det har virkelig blevet så populært, at det er nærmest en hel, de er lige så store, i tegneserien er de lige så store som Avengers selv. Men folk kender dem ikke, fordi det er meget mere komedie, end det er seriøst. Så det bliver meget mere goofy, og det var også det, mange var meget nervøs for med filmen, om den blev meget goofy. Og jeg vil sige, det er en action-komedie, men det er mere action end komedie.
Fordi altså, jeg var sådan, jeg tænkte bare på, men sådan, om, sådan, jeg tænker bare på, så når jeg havde hørt om, så ville det jo svært sådan lidt.
Ja, men så kan jeg afsløre, at så kommer der snart en film, der hedder Doctor Strange, og der er sikkert ikke nogen, der har hørt om ham.
Jo.
Ja, okay, det har folk faktisk hørt om. Det er jeg lidt overrasket over, fordi normalt, når jeg fortæller om Doctor Strange, så er folk sådan lidt, hvem? No. Yes, but the Infinity Gems. So the Infinity Gems is believed to be the source of what created the whole universe. It's a different kind of. There's a few gems. They all have different powers. I don't want to go into the specific about the powers because they are probably gonna change what they do in the movies. So I don't want to give you like false information. But some of them they give incredible powers, like super strength, the ability to control people's minds, ability to travel through space with a snap with your fingers, the ability to create a planet, the ability to destroy a planet just by touching it with your finger. It will destroy a planet. So the Infinity Gems are, as I said, what created the universe. They're split into 6 parts, and if you combine them all, you'll probably have the power to destroy everything and create everything, if that's what you want. And then we have this guy, Ronan. Ronan, he's what is it called? Like a war fanatic. He's addicted to war. He's in love with war. He just wants to destroy things, but he doesn't want to destroy things just to destroy them. He wants to destroy one thing, and that's a planet called Sandar. And Sandarians, which are the people who live on the planet, they look like humans, but their skin is more pink. And can I log in? No, okay. Their skin is more pink, and there's some with red skin, and blue skin, and yellow skin. And the Sandarians have these different color skin. The skin doesn't matter, it's like humans, just we're from the planet they're off. But Ronan, he's a race called the Kree, and the Kree, as I said, they are in love with war. And Ronan, he's just more crazy than the rest of the Krees. The Krees have made a what is it called? Like a deal with the Sandarians, so they don't like a peace treaty, so they don't fight. But Ronan, he's like, fuck this! I wanna kill the Kree, or I wanna kill the Sandarians because that's what the Kree are made for. So let's kill them all. He gets his hand of an Infinity Gem, puts it. He has a giant hammer. He puts it into the hammer, and then he gets like crazy powers. And in the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, they kill him with that power because they managed to steal the power and combine it and kill him. Personally, I don't think he's dead. That would be pretty stupid to kill Ronan in one movie. That would be pretty boring for the future. Then we have Thanos. He is actually the most evil guy in the movie. He's seen in one scene, actually 2 scenes. He's maybe on screen for 5 minutes in total, but he's still the main evil guy in the movie, or in the universe right now. He is he's from a planet called Titan, which is a planet of titans. And every Titan has a title of what they do, and he is the Mad Titan because he's mad. because he's in love with Death herself. So what he wants is to show Death that he's worthy of her love. So he just kills things, destroys things, just to show Death that he can be a better Death than she can, and maybe she will fall in love with that. Unfortunately, it's not like that. Death doesn't care. She just wants to see people die. That's what Death do. But with this urge to kill people, he will collect. His goal is to collect all the Infinity Gems and combine them into something called the Infinity Gauntlet, which is the only thing that can actually harness all the power of the gems at the same time. And with that gauntlet, he will be unstoppable. In the comics, we see all of the Avengers, all the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, almost every single cosmic creature fight against Thanos, and maybe 90% of them die because they cannot beat him, even though they're 1,000 to 1 guy. He will just snap his fingers and 10 of them die. But in the end, the gauntlet falls off by accident. How inconvenient. And a girl called Nebula, who is an assassin, she picks it up and she becomes crazy and tries to kill everyone. But in the end, I don't know how, but in the end they manage to actually beat her. And then Thanos is like, oh, sorry guys, this was my mistake. Let's clean up the universe and I'm a good guy now. So, and then he wants to be a good guy just because he just tried to destroy the universe. But that's a pretty terrible comic. It's called Thanos Redemption. I don't recommend you read that because it's pretty terrible. It's just about a bad guy trying to save his own ass. In the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, or actually in the beginning, we see something called the Nova Corps. And the Nova Corps is actually pretty important as well. They are what the Green Lantern Corps is for DC. That's what they are for Marvel Universe. So they have a Nova Prime on every single planet in the universe, which when it's needed, they get teleported to Sandar, where the Nova Corps exists, to either defend Sandar or some other planets in the universe. But these Nova guys, they are embedded with a cosmic power, which just when you look at them, they don't look super powerful. But when they pull on their helmet, they have a special helmet. It's yellow with a big red cross in the middle, like this. You've probably seen it if you have watched pictures of comics. It's pretty relevant right now. And there's a guy, and when they put on the helmet, the power enhances, and they can actually use it for something. When they don't have the helmet on, it's just, I'm super smart. I can run super fast. It's nothing they can, if they put on the helmet, they can fly, shoot lasers, and levitate stuff, and all sorts of crazy things. But there's this guy called Nova. How funny name for a guy in Nova Corps. But he is the guy from Earth, and he's the one that is probably the most important of all the Nova soldiers, or the Nova Primes, because that's the one we follow, and he goes through a lot. Yes?
This Nova person, is that the same one as the one in the Spider-Man cartoon?
Yeah, the one that's going right now?
Yes.
Yes, that's a new Nova guy, but it's the same Nova. I think it's the Ultimate Spider-Man you're talking about, right?
Yes.
I think Nova is a bit different. I haven't seen it, but I think Nova works in a different way in that cartoon. But he's based on the guy I'm talking about right now, or on this corpse I'm talking about right now. And these guys, they just want to save the universe. But in the movie, they're a bit different. They're like just a police force or a police task force that lives on Sandar and tries to defend it. But I hope to see it evolve even more, because there's a few hints in the movie that it's gonna go that way. So yeah. In Guardians of the Galaxy, we actually see him in Thor 2 as well. If you watch the end credits scene, you see Lady Sif and some other, I can't remember his name. Oh. He's a big dude with a big axe. They deliver the ether to a guy. What?
The execution?
No. He's one of Thor's friends. No, it's not Tyr. It's some other guy. He's something with J or Y. The names doesn't matter, because they just deliver the ether to the Collector. The Collector is something called a Celestial, an ancient being who have to do stuff in their life. If they don't do what they're told to do, they will basically die. So his job or his life is to collect things. So that's what he does. So he collects treasures. And in Guardians of the Galaxy, we see the main characters. They visit him to sell the orb they found. he then reveals that the orb is an infinity gem, or inside the orb is an infinity gem hidden, and someone touches the infinity gem, and that person cannot harness the power, so she explodes, and explodes his museum, as he calls it, where he hides all his stuff. And inside his museum, it's actually my favorite scene, because there's so many hidden treasures. It's like, if you're a nerd and know stuff about the comics, this is going to be your favorite parts of the movie. So if we change slide, we can go through a few things. I don't know how good this image is, because it's one I found on Google from a camera in the movie. But this is the opening scene you see when you get in. You can see that he have all these glass things. There's a few characters that's in this picture. There's a guy here. You can't see him, but he's called Beta Ray Bill. He's basically a copy of Thor, but he looks like a horse, and he has a different hammer. He's a really, really, really weird character, and I don't understand him really much because I haven't read the comics. But he seems like a cool character, and I think I'm going to read some comics in the coming week about him. We also have another character, which is probably the dumbest character Marvel has ever made. He's also in this scene. He is right there, and that's Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck. Ja. That's the guy sitting up there as well. Howard the Duck is he's from a planet that looks exactly like Earth. Only difference, the animals there, or the people who live there, is ducks. And they walk like humans, they speak our language. But Howard the Duck, he gets banished to Earth, and then he tries to get home. That's basically what Howard the Duck comics is about. And then he goes on adventures. It's basically like if you watched, what's it called, DuckTales? He goes on adventures like that. Like some stupid adventures like, oh, I'm gonna go down this temple and find some magic gem that does nothing. But hey, it's shiny. That's what Howard the Duck does. I hope it's just an Easter egg to tease the fans. I don't hope they will make a movie about that guy. There's a movie from the 80s, and it's super terrible. I watched it once, and I'm never gonna touch it again. It's in my basement, and I'm never gonna pull out the suitcase or the boxes anymore. If we take the next picture, we also see this guy, Laika the space dog. Laika, the Russian space dog. Laika? Yeah, Laika, right?
Yeah. That's the living thing in orbit.
Yeah, the first living thing in orbit, the Russian space dog.
Yeah.
She gets in contact with something called the cosmic power, and she turns into Cosmo, the space dog. And she gets superpowers, and she can speak the human language, and fly around, and shoot laser out her eyes, and some crazy stuff. She becomes a companion of a guy called Adam Warlock. I'm gonna cover Adam Warlock in just a second, because he's gonna be a super, super, super important character. I hope so, because that would make a lot of sense. Next slide. We also see this guy. He's laying on the floor inside of these glass tombs. This is just, if you watch Thor: The Dark World, it's just a dark elf. It's just dark elf. It's just an Easter egg for the fans to see if you actually looked after what was happening in the movie. So we also see from the Avengers the Chitauri, the alien race that invades Earth in the Avengers movie. You can also see one of those, but the images I could find was really, really terrible because the movie isn't out yet. So, but because this is from a trailer, so it's in high definition. But the other pictures are really, really low quality because camera records. If you take the next picture, oh, okay, yeah, it's really hard. But it's like a big cocoon, and inside the big cocoon is Adam Warlock. This is from Thor 2, which he was supposed to be first, and people were discussing: is it Adam Warlock? Is it just a cocoon? What is it? And then in Guardians of the Galaxy, we see it again, and then people asked James Gunn, who made the movie, is it Adam Warlock? And he was like, yes, it's Adam Warlock. And then Reddit exploded like, oh, it's Adam Warlock, and people went crazy. I went crazy, and I still am crazy about it. If you take the next slide, we see Howard the Duck. This is from the end scene. This is a better picture of him. Yeah, he's just there. But actually, right here, in this box, that's where Adam Warlock was supposed to be. But I don't see a cocoon right now. I just see an empty box. And if you actually take the next picture, I have zoomed in, and if you take the next picture again, I put a beautiful arrow that shows where it is. And there's some smoke, so it looks like it has exploded, which it also does in the comics when he comes to life. Next picture, I think. Oh, back again. We don't want to go here yet. That's too fast. So Adam Warlock, he is also another ancient being from the universe. So many ancient beings from the universe. Adam Warlock is like, he's made from celestial DNA. So he's like the collector, but he can just do whatever he wants. He don't have to do stuff. But what Alan Warlock loves to do is study the universe. When we meet him first in the comics, he knows everything about the universe. If you ask him everything, he's like, oh, that's that. He knows everything. He has visited every single planet, talked to almost every single being in the universe. If he was in our universe, he would have talked with everyone in this room, even though you didn't know who he was. But he has an infinity gem implanted in his forehead. It's called the space gem, which makes him snap his fingers and he can go wherever he wants. So that's why he can talk to everyone, because he can like, oh, talk to me, and then boom, he can go talk to my dad, boom, go talk to Obama, whatever. And he can actually also control time with the space gem, because he controls space and time, and it's a lot of stuff. So Adam Warlock is going to be a really, really important character, because he will aid Thanos to get all the Infinity Gems, and then he realizes that probably wasn't a good idea. And then he helps the Avengers try to defeat Thanos, and that kind of goes wrong. But in the end, they succeed, luckily. And that's gonna be that's what I think. We see a few movies coming right up. You don't want to change slide yet. But we have Age of Ultron coming and Ant-Man. They are 100% coming, and we have Guardians of the Galaxy 2. No title for that yet, but it will come in 2017. And then we have Avengers 3 right after that. So my guess, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 will see Peter Quill or Star-Lord find his dad, and we will see them find Adam Warlock alive, and he will introduce Thanos to the universe. And in Avengers 3, we will probably see Thanos with many or probably all of the Infinity Gems, and then we'll see the battle with almost every character apart from Spider-Man and X-Men and Fantastic Four. They're not part of our universe, but we'll see a huge fight in Avengers 3. That's at least my theory. But there's also a lot of other rumors going on. A lot of them is bullshit, I think, which is on the next slide. Here. So the ones with the exclamation mark, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is 100% coming. And the others, and a lot of those on this picture, are bullshit. So we have, we have Age of Ultron, which is 100%. Then we have Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think it's called War of Kings. I think that's a lie. Then we have Ant-Man, and Captain America: The Fallen Sun. I think that's a pretty good title. I'll explain why later. Then we have Doctor Strange. We have Thor: Ragnarok. I don't think this movie's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be made. Then we have Black Panther. I don't think it's gonna be made either. We have Avengers: Civil War. I don't think it's gonna be made either. And then we have World War Hulk. Nah, there's not gonna be a single Hulk movie anymore. And then we have Inhumans, which I think is gonna be made, but it's gonna be, I hope it's gonna be like a series like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If anyone has seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I hope Inhumans is gonna be like that, because it would make so much sense to make it into a series. So I want to speak about Age of Ultron. Does everyone know who Ultron is and what Ultron does?
No.
All right, so in the comics, we see Hank Pym, or Ant-Man. He makes an AI to help Earth solve crises like the finance crisis. This AI would be able to solve that before it actually happens. It can help people not make war, because it will explain to people, oh, you want to go to war with this country? It's a bad idea because this, and it will explain the other country this. So it's basically an AI that wants to help Earth. But the AI becomes so smart that it upgrades itself, and then it upgrades itself so much that it thinks that humans are stupid and it wants to kill every single human. So it actually escapes from Earth alone, and then outside in the universe, it keeps upgrading himself and duplicating himself, making better copies of himself. And in the end, he calls himself Ultron, and then he realizes, I was made on Earth. They made me stupid. He thinks he's stupid, and he's like, they made me stupid. I want to destroy them. And then he goes back to Earth with an army, like 1 million of himself, just to destroy Earth. He knows everything about Earth, so he knows if he punches let's say he's fighting against Captain America and he punches out, Captain America punches towards him. He knows how fast Captain America punches, how hard he punches, where he will punch, and how to dodge it. Just by looking at him, he will know that. So it's gonna be also a pretty tough guy to defeat. That's not how it's gonna happen in the movies, because in the movies we see Ant-Man is gonna be released after Age of Ultron. So I don't think Ant-Man is gonna make Ultron. Ant-Man is gonna be happening in 1970s, 80s, so it's gonna be in past time. I think we're gonna see Hank Pym build an AI, but I don't think it's him making Ultron. It's probably gonna be Tony Stark who creates Ultron in the small Ultron version, and because we have got a synopsis from Marvel that explains in brief details what's gonna happen, and they say that in Age of Ultron, Stark pulls out an old AI project and goes wrong. So I think that's what Ultron is. We also see another character in Ultron. We see Scarlet Witch and we see Quicksilver. They're actually owned by Fox Studios, but they are lended to Marvel for this movie only, as of now. But it actually makes no sense, because in the comics, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch is a daughter and son of Magneto, and Magneto doesn't belong to Marvel. He belongs to Fox Studios. So it's gonna be, I'm excited to see how they're gonna make this happen, because I'm really confused of how they will make it work. We also see a third guy called the Vision, or Vision, which is basically a better copy of Ultron, which Ultron himself makes to help himself. But Vision is so clever and smart because he's based off of Jarvis. Does anyone know who Jarvis is? It's the AI of Tony Stark, for those who doesn't know that. He's based off of Jarvis, and Jarvis is a gentleman. He wants to help everyone who's good to him. And he realizes that Ultron isn't good to him. So Vision joins the Avengers, and in the comics, he helps the Avengers save Earth. In the comics, we actually see some crazy stuff happening. We see Earth almost being destroyed. We see Wolverine traveling back in time, like in Days of Future Past, which is actually, the Days of Future Past comics is actually from Age of Ultron, but Fox Studio just used it for a whole other plot. But he travels back in time with Sue Storm. They kill Hank Pym, which ruins the future. They go back again to kill Wolverine before he kills. So Wolverine kills himself before he kills Hank Pym. The comics are so weird. I think I read them 10 times and I'm still like, what the fuck's happening? Like, there's so much stupid traveling back and forth in time, and the comics are stupid. But I think the movie's gonna be really good because I don't see Marvel bringing in time traveling. Because time traveling always fucks up. I don't think I watched anything in the world that doesn't fucks up time travel. Doctor Who does it pretty well, but it fucks up a lot of the times as well. So also, parallel universes, a bad idea to ever do that. Always fucks up. That's at least, that's what I have by experience, by reading comics and stuff. We have Doctor Strange. He's a strange guy. He's actually not a superhero. He's more like a magician or a wizard. He relies more on not celestial things. What is it called? Like he relies on magic, and his what's this bad guy called? Can't remember his bad guy. His bad guy is also based on magic, and his bad guy lives in a alternate universe, which is inside mirrors, which is a dark version of our world where everything is bad and sucks. I could see Doctor Strange become a movie because there's so much talk about it, and Marvel is casting a guy to play him, but I don't see how it will be connected into the Marvel universe as of now. He helps the Avengers destroy Thanos or kill Thanos, but or defeat Thanos actually. They don't kill him, but I don't see him being a drive force for a whole movie. He's probably gonna be like a guy who just arrives, more or less. And then we have Civil War, which is the biggest rumor on the internet right now about the Marvel universe. Have anyone heard about Civil War?
Yeah.
All right. Civil War is probably, there's like 4 big comic stories that always gets repeated. They keep rewriting it. That's the story about Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos. It's Age of Ultron. It's something called the Annihilation Wars, and it's a civil war. Civil war is basically in Captain America 2. They find out that Hydra is basically SHIELD. So SHIELD isn't what they believe it is. It's actually a bad organization. If anyone doesn't know what Hydra is a spin-off of the Nazi Germany, and what they want is peace on Earth by making people fear to do things. Like they will watch you. If you move your hand wrong, they will just kill you instantly. If you scratch your head wrong, they'll just kill you. They want to fear you so you do what they want you to do. And they believe that's fear. They don't believe humans are supposed to do what they want. Except for them, of course. That's something else. But Captain America is like, I don't think it's a good idea that superheroes can be hidden. So he stands up and say every superhero should show themselves to the world and show them who they are. Iron Man, no wait, it's the wrong way around. Iron Man says that. Captain America is like, no, I think that's a bad idea. I think it's really good that superheroes are hidden. It's a part of what we are. We should not show anyone who we are. So Captain America and Iron Man becomes enemies, more or less. Captain America hides, and then Peter Parker, or Spider-Man, shows himself to the world. He pulls off his mask on live TV for everyone in the world to watch. And a lot of superheroes does that as well, to show the world. If they don't care if they know who you are, it's just a mask. It doesn't do anything. And then they sign a paper like, I'm a hero and my name is blah blah blah. I live here. So basically, like a normal person would register themselves. The superheroes are supposed to do that as well. But some people join Captain America's side. They want to be hidden, and then they have a big fight, which is why it's called Civil War. They fight of being able to be hidden and being able to just be whoever they are. And I think people say that's what's gonna happen in Captain America 3 because Robert Downey Jr. just got signed to play in that movie. I think it's I think it's not gonna happen in one movie. Maybe they will make a build-up for it in Captain America 3. But I don't think it's gonna happen there because we have Avengers 2, which is Age of Ultron, and we have Avengers 3, which is not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be about Thanos because Thanos is already building up right now with the Infinity Gems, and we have seen him so many times, and we know he's working together with Loki. So I think it will be a stupid move for Marvel to put in a third story like bam in the middle of everything, and then there's 3 stories going on. We have Age of Ultron, then Thanos, and Civil War. It's gonna be a total mess, and even the comic guys who are into this will be confused about everything going on at the same time. That's why I think Captain America 3 is gonna be called The Fallen Sun, because we will see Steve Rogers, the Captain America we see now. He will die, which he does in the comics. He dies, and then his best friend Bucky, who we have already seen as the Winter Soldier, he will pick up the shield and become the new Captain America. This is actually a pretty fun reason why I think this, or a lot of people think this, because Chris Evans only has 2 or 3 contracts left in his movie, or he only has 3 movies left in his contracts, and and we know Bucky, the guy who plays Bucky, he has 14 movies left with Marvel. 14, yeah. So that's why I think it's probably gonna be a bit risky to start making Civil War now with Captain America, the real Captain America, going out soon, because Marvel had said the characters they use now, they are never gonna be rebooted. So when Robert Downey Jr. is done playing for Marvel, then it's goodbye Iron Man. No more Iron Man. They're not just gonna reboot them like Spider-Man. They remade Spider-Man. They made 3 movies, and then they're like, okay, this is actually, now we made everything we want, but we actually want to go back to the beginning, but we just can't do that because that bad guy already beaten. Let's just scratch this idea, make a new hero. That's what many studios do. They did it with Transformers recently. They're probably gonna do it again, and a lot of movies do that, but Marvel has said they're not gonna do that. They're just gonna keep going, because they know they have so many heroes and characters they can just throw into the game, and they can just, even if they pull out. The funny thing is, people say Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, and Thor is the most known characters. Actually, not. They're not the they were not famous before the Marvel movies. They became famous because of the Marvel movies. If you see the old Avengers, which is actually which is Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, Ant-Man, and the Wasp, I don't see any Captain America there. And I only see a really terrible Iron Man who leaves it pretty early because he don't like it, which he don't like in the movie either. But they don't even follow the original lineup, so to say. They just follow the lineup they want to, which I think is a good lineup because it's pretty funny and entertaining to watch and do it pretty well. So they will just keep going and throw out the old characters and put in new. And that's where Inhumans come in. Inhumans is some characters from space, basically like the Avengers, but inhuman. Yeah, and their leader is called Black Bolt. Black Bolt is a pretty cool guy. His superpower is screaming, but he can kill you by whispering in your ear. And if he yells, he can destroy a planet. So, and if he screams, he can destroy a universe if he wants to. So and that's actually a pretty nice thing to tell you how strong Thanos gets with the Infinity Gauntlet. He's fighting against Black Bolt in the universe far away out, and Black Bolt charges up a scream. He screams as loud as he can. He breaks his vocal cord, and Thanos like, that didn't even hurt. And there's like his biggest scream he could do. That could destroy 5 planets if there was any planets, and it doesn't even hurt Thanos. That's how strong he gets with Infinity Gauntlet. Just to explain how strong he will get. I don't hope he will get that strong because it's gonna be really crazy in the movie. Just the guy snapping fingers and 10 people die and a planet disappears. That's not fun. Is there any questions to this slide before I go on? Because I want to go to some more comic-ish things before I leave. No questions here? Any questions at all? No? Okay, let's take the next slide then. Which comics should you read? I have a few comics that I love. I read them. I've read them a million times, and I know I'm gonna read them again. If you're into comics and want to actually start reading, but you don't want to spend money on the paper because they're pretty expensive in Denmark at least, you can buy something called Marvel Unlimited, which is a subscription service. You pay $10 a month, and you can basically read all the comics Marvel have ever made on the internet, on your iPhone, Android device, iPad. I actually think they have an application for Xbox as well, so you can read comics on your TV. So you can read comics basically everywhere. I read comics in the train on my phone because I have a pretty big phone. And it's really nice. It's a bit, as I said, cheaper than buying the paper ones. But I have a few comics I would recommend reading, or a comic series. Marvel Unlimited. I will recommend reading Civil War because it's so good. Like, it has everything comic need. It has friendship being broken, new friendships being made, a big ass fight. It has Wolverine. We all want Wolverine. It has Captain America on the front cover holding a shield. Almost all comics have that. It's pretty funny. So yeah, I recommend reading this. There's coming a new one next year, a new Civil War. They're gonna rewrite it. It's gonna come in the summer 2015, and I'm pretty excited for that to see how that plans out. That's also a big rumor for why they will make Civil War. I still don't think they will. The next comic I recommend reading is Age of Ultron. There's so many Age of Ultrons. I don't want to say which one to read. Just pick whatever you want because they're all good. Some of them are a bit more, abstract than the others. Some of them are with the time traveling. Some of them don't have time traveling. I recommend the ones without time traveling. They're a bit more, they make more sense. There's also one that goes on in the UK where we see Captain Britain, a pretty silly character in my way. He loves drinking tea. Who would have guessed that? But I think Captain Britain is a funny character. I don't see him in a movie though. That would make no sense. And the last comic I recommend reading is the Annihilation series. The Annihilation series it started in 2008 and it's still going on now. It's actually about the Guardians. It starts about Guardians of the Galaxy. We see Peter Quill going through some missions, and then it expands into a huge war because there comes this guy called Lord Annihilation, which he's super strong. He destroys Sandar like this. And he destroys a planet a prison called Kiln, which is a high security prison. No one knows who built it. No one knows who is prisoned in the bottom, where all the dangerous prisoners are. They just know there's some bad guys all the way at the bottom. This guy, Lord Annihilation, he just destroys it, like, hey, you bad guys, go kill someone. And basically all of the universe is at war, and we see all what we call the Harbingers work together. The Harbingers are people who work, or used to work for Galactus. Everyone know who Galactus is? Is there someone who doesn't know who Galactus is? Who would like to know who Galactus is? Okay, Galactus is also a pretty bad guy. He's a Celestial. He's called Galactus the Devourer because he has to devour things. Just not things. He has to devour planets. That's how he. That's how he survives. The most known harbinger he has is the Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer shows Galactus Earth, and Silver Surfer falls in love with a human. How convenient! And he saves Earth. That's actually a pretty big mistake a lot of heroes and villains do. They fall in love with humans.
That was in one of the Fantastic.
Exactly, the second Fantastic Four movie. The big guy up in the universe, that's Galactus.
In one of the cartoons, we see him as a human form, just a
Yeah.
giant version.
Yeah, his form is human. He has this pink purplish armor and a big giant helmet, and he just eats planets because that's what he has to do to survive. But yeah, we see a lot of characters. We see Nova here, and we see Drax the Destroyer. The Annihilation stories is built up into a lot of comics. You don't have to read them in a specific way, but they're built up in character comics. So there's a character comic following Ronan, one following the Silver Surfer, one following a guy called Silver Skrull. I don't want to go into specific about Silver Skrull because he's actually a pretty boring character, but the comic about him is pretty good. Then we also have one about Star-Lord, and we have one about Nova, and then we have one about Guardians of the Galaxy itself, and then we have some called Conquest, and then we have a few like sequels and prologues and stuff like that. So it's pretty huge, and there's many comics in this story, and it's really deep. I would love to see Annihilation War as a movie or as several movies, but as I said, Marvel doesn't own a lot of the characters who are needed to make these movies. So I don't see Annihilation in the near future, at least, because some of the Drive Force characters, Super Skrull, Fantastic Four, which is the Silver Surfer and Galactus, is not owned by Marvel but by Fox Studios. So, yeah, that's more or less it. If there's any questions.
You talked about Laika before. You said the character would be pretty important
Who?
later on. Laika, the dog.
Oh yeah, Laika. Yeah, I explained why she would be important.
You explain? Okay, maybe
I said she will absorb a cosmic power, which everyone can absorb. You could absorb it, I could absorb it, and then I would know everything about the universe, like Adam Warlock. Laika absorbs it and calls herself Cosmo, the space dog, and then she has superpowers and flies around the universe and helps Adam Warlock to discover the universe.
How does she react to the Soviet Union has been stopped?
The comics never say that anything about that. Actually, she never revisits Earth, as far as I know.
Because she was born in USSR.
Yeah.
So how can you indoctrinate a dog?
Well, she learns the human language, so she can explain.
I have a fun idea. Watch, the Russian will come back.
I'm pretty sure that Laika is gonna make a new Soviet Union in the universe somewhere on the planet and call it Mother Russia. I'm pretty sure about that. That's gonna be a future comic probably. Any other questions? Yeah, there.
In the end of Days of Future Past,
Yeah.
you see, sorry if I spoil it on anyone, you see a
Well, the whole talk is filled with spoilers. I made a spoiler one.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, we see Apocalypse. Yeah, that's right.
Do you think that it's Fox who owns the rights to X-Men,
Yeah.
etc., that they will start their own normal cinematic universe?
They're actually trying to do that right now. They tried it with the first X-Men movies, which failed miserably because they decided to kill some pretty bad characters, or some pretty important characters in the third movie. And then they rebooted it with First Class, which I think is a really, really good movie. And then they made Days of Future Past. They made some mistakes in Days of Future Past by incorporating some clips from The Last Stand or X-Men 3, which I think was, I literally in the cinema made just a face plant, because why do they do that? Because it's in a total different timeline. It has nothing to do with The Last Stand. I think what Fox is trying to do, they're also making a new Fantastic Four movie coming in 2017. 2017. I believe they're trying to make their own Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they have actually a big wide array of characters. They have all the mutants, they have the Fantastic Four, all the Harbingers, Galactus, the Skrull. The Skrull is a race who can transform into whatever they want, and the Super Skrull is a super version of the Skrull, which has all the Fantastic Four powers. That single Skrull is just made to destroy the Fantastic Four. He's just better at everything they do.
Do you see them merging at any point, these two studios? Do you see Marvel?
I really, really hope they do, but I don't think they will. Maybe in 2035, when the license run out, maybe Marvel don't want to resell it. There is rumors about Sony selling Spider-Man back. I am crossing my fingers for that, and hopefully they will keep Andrew Garfield, because he's a pretty good Spider-Man in my opinion. Not saying Tobey Maguire was bad, he's just better. There was also a question down there.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could recommend some comics where the main role is a woman.
A woman? Ooh. She-Hulk. She-Hulk is a really nice character. There's some really, really cool comics about her. She's also a pretty important character, or she becomes a pretty important character in the New Avengers. I also recommend reading the New Avengers. It's not that long, but it's really good as well.
Batwoman is good as well.
We're talking about Marvel. Any other questions? No? Then I'll say thanks for listening to my super nerdy comic talk. It was nice speaking about it. Actually having someone listen. So yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.